the way. So
Perfect. Got it. All right. Should I get started?
let me, we can start. Let me introduce you a little bit now,
Sure.
and then we
Okay.
can start.
I see my
So
mom. Hi,
welcome.
Mom.
Hello, Mom. Oh, there's Mom. I would like to invite, welcome Gabby, or Amaya Shiva, how she goes
Claire.
by. And she is zooming in from Austin, Texas, and she is Ayurvedic practitioner with travel experience, and she studied all over the world this Ayurvedic practice, and she will tell us more about herself. I just wanted to tell you we have 3 more sessions with her. Welcome,
Yes.
welcome Sarah and Gabby.
Yes. Yes. So thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Amaya Shiva. I live in Austin, Texas. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner and life coach, amongst many other things that I do in my life. Serious meditator, student of astrology. And thank you for being here, because sharing the wisdom and history of this science is like such an honor, such a pleasure, and it's super interesting. So get ready to be intrigued. If you are able to, please turn on your cameras and participate fully. It's much nicer for me to teach to real humans and not just, your name on a screen, although I understand some of you might be multitasking. Don't do that. So thank you all for joining. I have created some slides. Let's see, am I able to show those? Can I share my screen? Let's see. So I'm going to take you all on a little journey through what Ayurveda is, why it's so amazing, and all of you need it in your lives, and some next steps so that you can start to incorporate that. And as Magda mentioned, I have 3 more classes coming up in this series, and these are foundational pieces that if you come, you pay attention, I promise you, you will see changes in your life. You will feel better, you will feel vital, and you will be saying, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I wait so long? So I highly, highly encourage that you come to all of them. And I'm just so much fun to hang out with. Like, who doesn't want to hang out with me? Right, Mom? Good answer. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and talk a little bit about what Ayurveda is and my journey. So can everyone see my screen? Thumbs up. Beautiful. So what is Ayurveda? What is this? What does this word even mean, and where does this come from? These are some of the things we're going to cover today. But really, what Ayurveda is to me is like the ultimate healer, the ultimate way of living in harmony with your own body type. Because here is the truth, we are all different. Have you ever had the experience of you watch someone else eat a food or do an exercise, and then you tried it and either it hurt your belly or you got hurt? I've had that. Yeah, exactly. Right. We've all done that thing where we look to other people to try to understand what our bodies need. And what's so beautiful about Ayurveda is that it's teaching you to look at your own body, right? To learn how to listen to what your own internal wisdom is telling you. And this is not something we are taught in the West, right? We are taught to go to the experts. Absolutely, that is important, and it has its place. And if you are stuck in a paradigm where you are Googling diet types instead of listening to how your body is responding, if the internet is the way you determine something is healthy, then this is for you, because this is all about putting the power of health and understanding your body back into your own hands. And that is at its core what Ayurveda is all about. So how on earth did this girl from Kansas end up studying Ayurveda with like the most renowned teacher in the West? Like, what was my journey? How did I get there? You know, people look at me and they're like, you're so interesting. How did you end up in this place? And it really started with when I was a kid, I had a lot of chronic illnesses. Like I had chronic back pain. That started more when I was a teenager. I had ear infections all the time. And as a young adult, I ended up actually having to have surgery. I had terrible menstrual cramps. And I was trying all these things to like support myself. Like I had that like Paul Pitchford book. I don't know if anybody knows that, like I forget what it's called, like Healing with Nutrition. You know, I had all the things, I did all the things, I went to all the doctors and just like could never find relief. Right. And so when I was, let's see, in 2013, I went on this pilgrimage to India with my my ex-husband and now friend. And we were traveling to the super secret meditation spot that our friend had told us about. And on the way, we fell ill. Like we got who knows what kind of fever, 103 degrees, you know, on this train for 2 days, getting rattled around, just feeling like we wanted to die. And we ended up at this Ayurvedic clinic, right? We ended up at this Ayurvedic healing center. And they took one look at us and they were like, oh my God, you have to stay. Like you people need to rest. We're going to help you. And while there, I told the physicians about my back pain. And the first thing they asked me about was my diet. And I was like, excuse me, I'm trying to tell you that my back hurts and you're asking me about the food I'm eating. Like I was so skeptical. I didn't understand, like, why are they asking me these weird things? And I went with it. I went with it as skeptical as I was. I did the protocol. I did the herbs for 90 days. And you guys, my back pain was gone. It was like something that I had battled with for over a decade. I mean, regular physical therapy, x-rays, MRIs, I did all the things because my back would go out and I would be unable to walk, right? And I did this treatment and I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened to me? And this incredible transformation made me leave my life in Seattle without having ever even been to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to start studying Ayurveda. Because it was at this place where it was like I could have continued in academia and gotten a full scholarship for my PhD, but I felt so terrible that was like, do I really, I can't continue living like this, right? And so I made that choice to move there, where I ended up just in this deep dive of the world of Ayurveda. Like my whole body was covered in oil for like 2 years straight. And that's something you'll learn about in the 4th class in this series. And I'm just so grateful because really this just so profoundly changed my life. And it is my honor to share some of its wisdom with you. So thank you for being here. It is truly a gift. So these are just some pictures I wanted to share of trips to India, because I think it's fun when we get a sense of like the story of myself. And this is in India, in Varanasi. This is me with, can you guys see my mouse? Is that visible to you? Okay, great. This is my teacher, Dr. Lod, who I'll tell you a little bit more about. There's me. It's our school in New Mexico. We would have clinic with him and watch him see clients for hours every day. And it was just such an incredible experience. So what is this? I've told you how it's amazing. I've told you how cool it is. I've told you how it changed my life, but like, where does it come from? Who has thought of this stuff? Ayurveda is the oldest medical system in the world, and it dates back at least 5,000 years. And we also have to consider that many libraries have been destroyed in invasions. So while we're able to track the texts back, it could well be much older. So keeping that in mind, can you guys still hear me? One of my headphones just died. Okay, I might have to switch out of it. So it literally translates to the science of life. And what it's all about is really understanding what is your unique constitution type? Like, how is my physiology different from your physiology? And what does that mean for how I should eat, for how I should exercise, and for how I should sleep, right? Because this is different according to each body type and the imbalance you are dealing with and the season that we are in. So it's this beautiful dance. Like, people always ask me, well, what does Ayurveda say about XYZ? And I always say, well, it depends, right? It depends on the person and the circumstance. So it comes from the land that we today call India. But I wanted to take this reminder, this opportunity to remind everyone that India is like the EU. Like, when we say India, that's really not doing justice to the diversity of cultures and languages and traditions that were lumped together during British occupation, right? If you go to India, there are hundreds of languages being spoken there. There are different dance traditions. There are, there's so many cultures within that. And I just share that as a reminder, because someone from South India, from Kerala, is going to be very different culturally from, someone in the north, right? So that's important to understand. And why am I talking about Brahma? So the tradition of Ayurveda is said to have been passed down by the creator, Lord Brahma. And, the Vedic pantheon has thousands of gods and deities, but Brahma is the one who in the classical texts is credited with bringing us Ayurveda. And it was said that he gave this knowledge to mankind as we began our descent into the age of confusion and ignorance, and people started to get ill. Now, the number one cause of illness is prajna parada. What is that? It's crimes against wisdom. Translation, that pizza is going to hurt your belly, but you eat it anyways. You know that you shouldn't be staying up till 2 a.m. watching Netflix, but you're doing it. You know that you need to exercise and take care of your body, but you're ignoring how you feel, right? These are crimes against wisdom. And that's the biggest thing that is making people sick, right? They're ignoring their bodies. So there's this whole beautiful shloka and lineage that we learn. I had to memorize, and I've forgotten some of it. Otherwise, I would try to impress you all with it right now, that describes the descent of Ayurveda. And the first part is Brahma Smrit Vayu Shovedam Prajapatim Ajigrahat So Shvinatau Sahasraksham. And that's all I have right now. But that's actually listing the names of Brahma, gave it to Prajapati, who gave it to the Ashwini Kumars, these twins, who gave it to Indra, who then spread it via Dhanvantari. He's considered to be the first physician, and Kashyap Rishi. And I share all of this with you because in this culture, it's so important that we acknowledge our teachers, right? Without the wisdom of my teacher, what knowledge would I have to give to you? None, right? And without their wisdom and without the wisdom of their teachers. So we always honor that lineage. And I'm sharing this picture down here because when we talk about Vedic culture, there's often a misconception that it's just this lower land mass, right? That's called India. But actually, when you look at the Vedas, you'll see that this area extended into places like Afghanistan, right? Like there was what we would today call a Middle Eastern or Arab influence on that culture as well. And I think that's so important that we just acknowledge that. You know, what is history? It's his story. So we're always looking for more pieces of the story to fully understand something. Now this is really, really cool. Southern India is super famous for the ASHTA VAIDYA tradition. And this is a lineage that you are born into. Like nobody can study to get into the Ashtavadyas. You can't just go to school for it. These are lineage-based traditions where you're born into the family, and starting at like age 4, you start to memorize these texts, and you're being taught this, you're chanting it every day. And to even begin your studies, you have to memorize 5,000 verses. And then you're deemed to be a fit for being a student. Not before then. Like that, those 5,000 verses are like, it's, you know, that's kind of whatever. That's just the prerequisite, like your SAT for college or something. And so this is where a lot of people have heard about Ayurveda from Kerala, the Ashtavaidya tradition. These people who are trained in all 8 branches. Ashta actually means 8. So like if you've ever heard the term Ashtanga yoga, it's saying Ashta Anga, 8 limbs. So these physicians who are trained in all aspects of Ayurveda. Yeah, and these are the branches. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Why is this relevant? Well, to understand the impact that Ayurveda has had on modern medicine, on medical practices, right? Right now, we're in a relatively new model, right? The Western model of health is not that old, right? A few hundred years, especially the modern one. And it's really moved into this one size fits all, right? And that's why I was talking so much about how Ayurveda is based on, it's personalized medicine, right? This is a kind of a hip new term, but actually it's not new at all. Like Ayurveda was using this for millennia. And I think that's important to acknowledge and understand, because of course, Western medicine has its place. And let's acknowledge these traditions that have been around for so long, treating billions of people. I mean, literally, probably billions of people were treated using Ayurveda successfully, right? Using natural medicines that come from the earth. And this is a very beautiful thing, right? The best medicine is your food and your lifestyle and the company that you keep. So keeping all of that in mind as we move through. So we've got these 8 limbs. It's so interesting. You can see like the basis of the modern rhinoplasty or nose surgery is found in the Sushrut Samhita. Like this is a 5,000-year-old text, right? These techniques of today are actually not that new. And so I find that very interesting. There's toxicology. How do we treat poisons? How do we, this rejuvenation is like anti-aging, which is something I like to study because I want to age gracefully, and I am. Thanks, Mom, for the good genes. Medical astrology. Now, this is also interesting because, you know, there can be this Western tendency to think of astrology as like that weird thing that's in the back of the newspaper, you know, that says some vague stuff about how everybody who's a Cancer is experiencing this one thing. And it just doesn't do any justice to how important astrology has been for the development of cultures and civilizations, like every kingdom had an astrologer, and every kingdom made decisions based on the advice of that astrologer. And Ayurveda has a very special branch called medical astrology, where we are able to use this very scientific process of looking at an astrology chart to understand someone's disease at a deeper level. And for those of you new to these things, well, just stay with me. If it sounds weird and woo to you, that's okay. It's allowed. Just keep an open mind and know that this has been around for many thousands of years. All right. Any questions so far? Nope. All right. So how do we use Ayurveda practically? What is it on the ground, right? And the first thing we always look at are the doshas. This looks like it's spelled dosas, but there should be an H there. This is not a snack food. We really want to understand your constitution type. Like, that's the first thing to get. And I'm going to be teaching a whole class on that, so I'm not going to go too deep, but this is my little, I'm dangling the carrot on the stick for you so that you come and learn this with me. So we're looking at the doshas, we're looking at vata, pitta, and kapha. What is this unique combination of these elements, right? It's based on air, earth, fire, ether, water, right? And how are those showing up? Well, think about this. We use these terms like endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph, and you can compare these different body types to that. And you can also just think about, like, what is someone like who is grounded, right? Someone pop an answer. I'm going to get you guys involved a little bit in this discussion. So give me, Claire, I see you. Give me a couple qualities of someone who's grounded.
Calm, unwavering, steady. Yeah, those are the things that come to mind.
Beautiful. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what do you picture when you think about someone who is nervous and ungrounded? What body type comes to mind? How about Laura? Do you want to pop on and say?
I don't know.
That's
Nervous?
okay.
I mean, doesn't that cover all types?
Well, that's a good point. Yes, it can. Absolutely. So what I'm really thinking about here is, like, you see someone who will be more thin, right? It can be someone who's a little bit more emaciated, like they don't have the appetite or stomach to eat, like this, right? And that is a sign of an imbalanced body type called vata, right? Or what about someone who is like, angry? What does that person look like? Mom, do you have any ideas for us? She's like, no, I got called on.
I mean, no, not really.
Of course. Okay. What color is someone's face when they're angry?
I guess red.
Red,
But
right?
depends, what ethnic group you are, maybe.
Absolutely. And there's a certain blood flow that comes to the face when you're angry, right? There's a certain intensity, there's a redness. And this is pitta, right? That's a very pitta quality. Anger is a pitta type emotion. Being grounded, this is a kapha type emotion. Being nervous, this is a vata type emotion. Feeling uncertain, vata again. And I'm planting all these seeds for you so that as you start to take this knowledge with you into the world, you start to understand people from the lens of the dosha, right? Instead of more judgmental vocabulary, you can just say, oh, well, that person has more air, so they're a little more ungrounded and they might feel unsteady. Okay, how do we balance that? Oh, we give them heavier foods. We give them a heavy blanket. Oh, that person has a lot of heavy quality. What do they need? They need more air. Oh, okay, let's get them moving. Okay, let's get them up. Let's get them out away from heavy blankets and sitting and on their feet like this. So starting to understand these qualities of opposites and how we can really use them to bring balance to our lives, right? Because listen, you guys, health is not the goal. Health is not the goal. It is the vehicle for which you achieve all things in life, right? And when you don't have health, what do you have? You have nothing. You don't have the ability to do these things in the world anymore.
Just keeping this in mind, like why health is so important, and your work in this world is so intimately tied to that. So Ayurveda is this Sanskrit tradition, right? And it's meant to be memorized. And has anybody here heard of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras? Just raise your hand. Okay, Magda has, Claire has, okay. So Charaka is actually credited with being the author of the Yoga Sutras, as well as one of the most important texts of Ayurveda called Charak Samhita. Now, you don't need to memorize these names, but I, as a student of these wisdom bearers, am obligated to speak their names and give credit to them. So thank you for receiving that transmission. And it's so cool, like the very experienced Vaidyas will actually be able to chant entire chapters by heart, or the whole book. And everything that we learned at my school was based on that. Like we would learn, we all had to study Sanskrit. I can read Devanagari like very slowly. I'm not great, but I can, and can understand some Sanskrit because it's part of the culture of this art form. Now, do you have to know Sanskrit to use this in your daily life? Absolutely not. But it is good to understand where it comes from, again, to give respect and reverence to the culture, right? This is something that we've really been learning in the modern age, how important it is to honor where these traditions come from so that people are getting credit and not just being forgotten about, right? So what are these aims of human life? What are we here to do? Oh my God, this is like the biggest question anybody asks themselves. Like, who here has ever asked themselves the question, what is my purpose? I have. Like, why am I here? What am I here to do in this world, right? This is Dharma. This is this kind of hip word, and I'm glad it's hip. Like words like Dharma should become prominent in society, because to live with meaning and to contribute in a way that honors your unique gifts is absolutely the best thing you can do to make this world a beautiful place, right? We've all been on an airplane, and what do they tell you? What do they tell you about the oxygen mask? Anyone pop on who knows this?
Put yours on first.
What do they tell you?
Fast. Oh, sorry. Sorry, go
Laura?
ahead.
Oh,
Are you
put yours
ready?
on first
Oh, I
before
thought
you
you
try to
wanted
help
to talk.
someone else.
Okay. Does anybody know this answer? So someone say it. No?
Put yours on first before you help someone else.
Claire?
Oh.
What did they say?
Yeah, I heard someone mention it
I
already.
can't hear you guys. This is so weird.
Yeah.
Wait, what just happened? That's okay. I do not know how to fix that. Give me 1 second. I can see it's. Somebody say something.
Hello, hello.
No, I can't hear you guys. Oh no. This is terrible, but you can hear me. Oh, well, that's good. Hold on. I really want to be able to hear you though. Okay. Well, give me 1 second. Technical difficulty. What is happening? Why can't I hear you? Let me see. Disconnect. Try that. Claire, will you say something again?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Nope, still nothing. I've never had this happen. Ooh, this is fun. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just keep going, but I do want to do question and answer at the end. So I'm not sure exactly why this isn't working, but we'll see what we can do. So I'm sure somebody said it. You have to put on your oxygen mask first before you put it on someone else, right? And so really the best thing you can do for other people is do stuff that makes you happy, that makes you feel fulfilled, right? Because then you're operating from a place of generosity and overflow, right? This is the goal. This is what Dharma brings to you. It's this juiciness to life where like, I am fulfilled. Like I'm fulfilled because of the way I'm giving. And you can give through art. You can give through, like my mom leads these beautiful Tara meditations at the Buddha Center. There are so many ways to give. You can give through your loving presence, like simply by being there for someone, right? There's so many ways to give. So just remembering that and holding that in the forefront of your mind is so important. And then we have artha, like you need money to pay for things. And when you don't have enough money, it's stressful. Like, have you ever been stressed because you didn't have enough money? I know I have. I've been like, geez, this sucks. I would really like to have more money to make things easier. And this is acknowledged in the Vedas, right? Like we need sustenance so that we can live in a way that we're not stressed out, right? So critical, so important. Kama, like sex, love, and intimacy, and this is often kind of a taboo topic in the West, but like we are all born of sex. We are all adults here. We can acknowledge that. And having healthy, intimate relationships is really important for a healthy quality of life. And that doesn't have to mean just sex. Like there's more to it than that. Having good friendships, having people you can count on. Oh my goddess, like this is so important to really enjoying this human experience. Because here's the truth, like you're gonna experience pain, you will experience sorrow, you will get hungry and not have food for a long time because you're stuck on it, whatever. Like these uncomfortable situations happen. But what can we do as human beings to support the overall quality of this experience? And that's really what we're looking at. I'm going to go plug these in so that maybe I can have Howard in 1 sec. Okay. I guess we're all used to some Zoom difficulties at this point, 2022. So, do you have that in your life? Like really taking an honest inventory at where you're putting your attention, right? Where do you feel good? Because I like to think of this like the 4 wheels on your car. If one is flat, doesn't matter how healthy, how full the other wheels are, like you can't drive well. You're going to be like this in the ditch. So taking that assessment and being honest with yourself. Okay, I'm great at Dharma, but maybe I'm not so good at the wealth, or I'm great at wealth, but I don't have a lot of friends because I'm just working all the time. And like this, to understand where you need balance in your life. Moksha, right? Spiritual liberation and transcendence from attachment to life in the world, because we're all going to die. right? And that's a very uncomfortable topic for many Western cultures and Western people, but it's the truth. Like, it is the only certainty of being born in a body that one day you will exit it. And so how can you bring reverence to this human experience, right? How can you honor your body so that it can operate optimally and you can really enjoy these aspects of human life, right? Because when you are sick, when you are suffering, it is really difficult to have a fulfilling life, right? If you're struggling with gut health, if you're struggling with a stomach ache every time you eat, if your hormones are so imbalanced that you're like, you know, you're like this and you're like getting upset and crying and you know, every single day, if you're exhausted, if you have chronic illnesses, like, it becomes very difficult to do all of these things. And Ayurveda really recognizes that and is here to support you, is here to help you. And it's just such a beautiful thing. So again, and moral of the story is that health is not the goal, it is the vehicle for you to have all these beautiful experiences. And I can tell you personally, in my own journey of Ayurveda, it was having that platform of health that then helped me to find my dharma, which is sharing this wisdom with other people and then accumulating wealth by being able to work doing that, creating deep, meaningful friendships, and having the health to do my spiritual practice. Like, for me, meditation is a huge part of my life. And without, like, the way I was like 10 years ago, oh my gosh, no way. Like, you know, it just wasn't going to happen. So here's a little shot of our ASP2 graduating class of 2014. There's me. Look at us all in our beautiful saris, all these beautiful souls that are here to support other people. Now, who brought Ayurveda to the West? Like, when did this start to show up here? Has anybody heard of Mahesh Yogi, the Maharishi International Movement, the TM movement? Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah, beautiful. So this is a picture of him right here. And all of his followers learned some form of Ayurveda. Because it's so important for maintaining optimal health and wellness. This is Baba Haridas, this amazing monk who he's also deceased, who ran the Mount Madonna Institute in California. I don't know if anyone has been there or is familiar. Mappy Maharishi is in Iowa, Fairfield, Iowa. So there's this like Ayurvedic center in the Midwest, which is so cool. And this is my beloved teacher, Dr. Basant Lad. There is this really sweet documentary out about him I'm happy to share with all of you, and his journey. I'll tell you a little bit of the backstory because I happen to know a little bit. So Dr. Lad was a very poor villager in India. He did not come from a wealthy family. And in India, you know, in more recent years, like the kind of top thing to be is a Western doctor. And then you were an Ayurveda doctor, you know, because you couldn't quite get into the Western medical school. Now this is changing, but Dr. Lad had a spiritual teacher who guided him, you know, to study Ayurveda. And so he studied Ayurveda. He was a very devoted student, you know, again, from a very poor family, a small village, and ended up teaching at the Ayurveda college in Pune, India. And it was here that Robert Svoboda came to be a student. Now, Robert Svoboda is the first Westerner to have graduated from a school of Ayurveda. He graduated in 1981, and Dr. Lad was his teacher. Now, Dr. Lad was kind of like at the bottom of the totem pole because he was not Brahmin caste, right? He was not from a wealthy family. And there is a hierarchy that exists in many systems, even especially in the West as well, right? So Dr. Lad was kind of at the bottom of the totem pole. And Robert had a spiritual teacher named Vimalananda. And Vimalananda loved Dr. Lad's dedication to Ayurveda. And he said, no, you're going to go to the West and share this knowledge. And, they're like, how on earth is that going to happen? Like, that means paying for a visa. That means getting money to travel to the US. Like, this is crazy. How is this all going to work? And Vimalananda gave Dr. Lad his blessing. And after having been denied for visas repeatedly, he gets the blessing and magically, poof, his visa is approved, right? And then he comes to the United States, to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he teaches his first lecture on Ayurveda. He's like in his 30s, and I wish I had a picture because he's just so sweet and cute. And from there, started to get invited to teach. And he established the first, I believe it was the first school of Ayurveda in the West, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he just went up the ranks from being at the lowest, on the totem pole at the Ayurveda College in India, to being one of the most famous teachers in the West. And he is such a beautiful being. He's still alive. If you ever get a chance to sit at his feet, they are moving the school to Asheville, North Carolina, but they'll often have lectures open, or they did pre-COVID. And I tell you this story because what kind of dedication does it take to just be in service like that, to be in service to healing people? Like in Dr. Lad's clinic in India, hundreds of people will line up to come see him, and he'll see them, give the Ayurvedic herbs, listen to the pulse. This is a huge part of what we do. And it's just so beautiful. And there are more prominent people now in the West who are helping Ayurveda become more known. We've all heard of Deepak Chopra. We all know who Oprah Winfrey is, and Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, these two women have Ayurvedic medical doctors. Deepak Chopra studied Ayurveda. He was under Maharishi, under Mahesh Yogi. And this has been so important for helping get Ayurveda into the mainstream. Because that's where it belongs. We want it to become a popular science, right? Not just something weird. And what did all these people have in common, right? At the end of the day, Ayurveda is about helping people relieve suffering and supporting people in the PURUŠＡRTHAS, what we talked about, those 4 aims of human life. Right? Because this is your birthright as a human being, to experience fulfillment, contribution, and good health. And you need to learn the right tools, because if you're trying to, hammer a nail into the wall with a spoon, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to be like, man, hammering nails sucks, when really it doesn't suck when you've got a hammer, when you've got the right tool. So how can you make your journey of health awesome? By having the right knowledge and tools to put into place. And so this kind of brings me to this question. Who here, I know there are a couple of you, who here knows their dosha? Mom, you don't know yours? Oh my God. I'm doing a bad job. Okay, does anybody know their digestive type? Just me? Okay, perfect. Then that means you need to come to my next classes, because that is what we are going to learn. The next classes, I believe, all about the doshas, and I'm going to go into helping you identify what your dosha type is, so that you can balance your day, balance your life in a way that feels really good right? Really good for you so that you can have more energy, more vitality, so that you can age gracefully and just feel awesome in your body. Because I promise you are doing things that are opposite what your body type needs, because nobody ever taught you it. So don't feel bad. Like some of these things I learned in Ayurveda school, I was just like, I can't believe I survived like this many years without this knowledge. And your digestive type. That is also going to be a full class where I'm going to break down how to identify your digestive type. How does that impact what foods you should be eating? What spices are good for you? What are signs and symptoms your digestion is off? Like if you feel tired after eating, if you get gas and bloating, if you ever have like a heaviness in your belly, if you're having stomach pain, if you're constipated, all of these are signs that something is off. So, or if you just want to optimize gut health, like this is your opportunity to come. And I invite you all into that. And of course, my shameless plug, you are welcome to reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Amaya Shiva. And if you want to learn more about what it looks like to work with me, please reach out. I combine Ayurveda with other types of work to create these beautiful systems for my clients to help you unpack so much. I wanted to leave a few minutes for questions at the end. So let me get my little headset, see if that charged at all, and if I can hear you speak, because that will be really helpful. All right, I've got this in. Mom, can you say something? Just unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
I still can't hear.
Okay.
Magda, do you have any skills that might help with this?
Do you have
Zoom?
headphones that you can plug in the computer?
Hold on, I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
do you have a
Let me see what's happening with my sound preferences. Output. Okay, try now, Magda.
Can you hear me?
Well, this is really a bummer. I wanted to be able to talk with you all, but I don't know. I don't know what you're showing me, Magda. If you want to type something in the chat, you can. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Okay. Show soundbar menu. Oh, chat. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's see. My audio, no, it's like something with the output. Well, if you have questions, yeah, anybody can type them into the chat and then I can answer them without hearing your voice, which bums me out. Anything?
Okay, Mom, will you try saying something one more time? Just I hit one other thing. Or
Yeah.
Magda.
Yeah, can you
I
hear me?
just typed something. No, I just typed.
Okay. So Magda's question is, she wanted to say that doshas ultimately do they change over your lifetime? This is a great question. There are two states that we look at. So one is your constitution type at birth, right? This is like your fixed doshic balance. That is that does not change, right? You are born with that. It's related to your natural physiology and your frame. Your imbalances of dosha absolutely fluctuate, and they'll fluctuate seasonally. Like people will get more pitta in the summer, right? That's why they get angry and road rage and hot-headed. And then in the fall, when it's windy and cold, vata increases. In the winter, you know, you'll often get colds because you get this mucus buildup, which is related to kapha. So yes, absolutely, those will fluctuate. And that's why understanding the doshas of not only your body, but of the environment is such a powerful tool for maintaining balance through the seasons. So great question. All right, and Claire asked, is there an order of the 4 aims of human life? I mean, physical health supports moksha and supports all of them, right? Is there an order of importance? There's going to be some difference person to person. For some people, they just have a mind for service, right? They want to do more service, and that's their way, that's their expression in the world. For other people, like they are born with this capacity for business and artha, right? For this wealth accumulation. And that's something that they're really quite good at. So order, I wouldn't say yes to, but I will say that it will be, you know, these areas will be more prominent in people's lives. And this will also change based on your age. Like when you're young, you know, you might be really focused on dating and getting out there and going to festivals and having those kind of fun experiences. And then as you age, oh, okay, now it's time to build wealth, to buy a house, to get some security. Okay, now I've done that. Now I'm ready to walk the path of liberation. Now I'm ready for the spiritual life. And that's something that's recognized as being related to the doshas in Ayurveda. Like we see those phases in the human experience. So was that helpful, Claire? I can't see you. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Yeah. Anything else? No. I'm just so sad I can't hear everybody, and I hope that never happens again. Let's see. Well, if we don't have anything else. Oh, that's a great question. Claire asked, what's one thing we could do to prepare for the next session? That is the perfect kind of question to ask. Yes. So your homework this week, we're going to be talking about the doshas next time. Notice what makes you feel grounded. So start to pay attention. What activities make you feel grounded? What makes you feel ungrounded? And what makes you feel irritated? Okay, so I'll type that in the chat. Everyone can copy this. What makes you feel grounded? What makes you feel ungrounded and anxious? Like, and when I say that, I mean, what activities? What makes you irritated? Right? So this is going to be a really helpful way to start to tap into the emotions of these doshas. Yeah. And can I share a test webpage for doshas before or after next class? Yes, let me find a good one. I don't have one right now, but let me look and I'll find one and then I'll send it out. Magda, do you have all the emails for everyone? Okay. Yeah, you can send it out and take the test and then come, and you might be surprised that the test is wrong. Because it's like, you know, it's one thing to do a questionnaire. It's another to learn with a live human who has experience. So do that test and then know that it might be incorrect. Yeah. Anything else? No? Okay. Well, I don't have anything else for you either. Magda, do you have any words for everybody since they can hear you?
Well, I just want to thank everyone for participating, and I'm sure this was a lot of new material, new information for everyone. Thank you so much for doing this for us, and we will see you again next Thursday, June 9th. And then the following week will be June 16th, but then we are meeting on Friday. I had to mix it up a little bit because there was another conflict of time because we have another event on Thursday. So it's 3 Thursdays and a Friday. Well, thank you so much for everyone for being here, and email me if you have any questions. I will put my email here. And thank you so much, and have a great day and almost weekend.